for him, men. Look sharp for white water. If ye see but a bubble, sing out!
All this while Tashtigo, Dagu, and Queequeg had looked on with even more intense interest and surprise than the rest, and at the mention of the wrinkled brow and the crooked jaw, they had started as if each was separately touched by some specific recollection. "Captain Ahab," said Tashtigo, "that white whale must be the same that some call Moby-Dick."
Moby-Dick? Do ye know the white whale, then, tar?
"Does he? Fantail a little curious, sir, before he goes down," said the gay-header deliberately. "And has he a curious spout, too?" said Dagu. "Very bushy, even for a Parmacetti, and mighty quick, Captain Ahab." "And he has 1, 2, 3, ooh, good many iron in him hide, too, Captain," cried Queequeg disjointedly, all twisky-tweeby-twisk like faltering hard for a word and screwing his hand round and round as though uncorking a bottle like a
corkscrew!
Yeah!
Aye, Queequeg. The harpoons lie all twisted and wrenched in him. Aye, Dagu, his spout is a big one, like a whole shock of wheat, and white as a pile of our Nantucket wool after the great annual sheep shearing. Aye, Tashtigo, and he fantails like a split jib in a squall. Death and devil's man it is. Moby-Dick, ye have seen Moby-Dick, Moby-Dick.
"Captain Ahab," said Starbuck, who, with stub and flask, had thus far been eyeing his superior with increasing surprise, but at last seemed struck with a thought which somewhat explained all the wonder. "Captain Ahab, I have heard of Moby-Dick, but was it not Moby-Dick that took off thy leg?"
Who told thee that? Aye, Starbuck. Aye, me hearties all round it was. Moby-Dick that dismasted me, Moby-Dick that brought me to this dead stump I stand on now. Aye, it was that accursed white whale that raised me, made me a poor pegging lubber every day, forever and a day.
Then tossing both arms with measureless imprecations, he shouted out,
Aye, and I'll chase him round Good Hope, and round the Horn, and round the Norway Maelstrom, and round Perdition's flames, before I give him up. And this is what ye have shipped for, men, to chase that white whale on both sides of land and all over the sides of the earth, till he spouts black blood and rolls fin out. Or say, men, ye splice hands on it now. I think ye do look brave.
"Aye!" shouted the harpooneers and seamen, running closer to the excited old man. "A sharp eye for the white whale! A sharp lance for Moby-Dick!"
God bless ye, God bless ye, men. Steward, go draw the great measure of grog, and what's this long face about, Mr. Starbuck? Wilt thou not chase the white whale? Art not game for Moby-Dick?
"I am game for his crooked jaw, and for the jaws of death, too, Captain Ahab, if it fairly comes in the way of the business we follow. But I came here to hunt whales, not my commander's vengeance. How many barrels will thy vengeance yield thee, even if thou gettest it, Captain Ahab? It will not fetch thee much in our Nantucket market.
Nantucket market? But come closer, Starbuck. Thou requirest a little lower layer. If money is to be the measurer, man, and the accountants have computed their great counting house, the globe, by girdling it with guineas, 1 to every 3 parts of an inch, then let me tell thee that my vengeance will fetch a great premium here.
He smites his chest, whispered Stubb. What's that for? Methinks it rings most vast, but hollow. Vengeance on a dumb brute, cried Starbuck, that simply smote thee from blindest instinct. Madness! To be enraged with a dumb thing, Captain Ahab, seems blasphemous.
Hark ye yet again, the little lower layer. All visible objects, man, are but as pasteboard masks, but in each event, in the living act, the undoubted deed, there, some unknown but still reasoning thing puts forth the moldings of its features from behind the unreasoning mask. If man will strike through the mask. How can the prisoner reach outside except by thrusting through the wall? To me, the white whale is that wall shoved near to me. Sometimes I think there's naught beyond, but 'tis enough. He tasks me, he heaps me. I see in him outrageous strength, with an inscrutable malice sinewing it. That inscrutable thing is chiefly what I hate. And be the white whale agent, or be the white whale principal, I will wreak that hate upon him. Talk not to me of blasphemy, man. I'd strike the sun if it insulted me. For could the sun do that, then could I do the other. Since there is ever a sort of fair play herein, jealousy presiding over all creations, but not my master man, is even that fair play. Who's over me? Truth hath no confines. Take off thine eye. More intolerable than fiends' glarings is a doltish stare. So, thou reddenest and palest, my heat has melted thee to anger glow. But look ye, Starbuck, what is said in heat, that thing unsays itself. There are men from whom warm words are small in dignity. I meant not to incense thee. Let it go. Look, see yonder Turkish cheeks of spotted tawn, living, breathing pictures painted by the sun. The pagan leopards, the unrecking and unworshipping things that live and seek and give no reasons for the torrid life they feel. The crew, man, the crew! Are they not one and all with Ahab in this matter of the whale? See Stubb? He laughs. See yonder Chilean? He snorts to think of it. Stand up amid the general hurricane. Thy one-tossed sapling cannot, Starbuck. And what is it? Reckon it. 'Tis but to help strike a fin. No wondrous feat for Starbuck. What is it more? From this one poor hunt, then, the best lance out of all Nantucket, surely he will not hang back when every foremast hand has clutched a whetstone? Ah, constrainings seize thee, I see. The billow lifts thee, speak, but speak, I. Thy silence, then, that voices thee. Something shot from my dilated nostrils. He has inhaled it in his lungs. Starbuck now is mine. Cannot oppose me now without rebellion.
God keep me. Keep us all, murmured Starbuck lowly. But in his joy at the enchanted, tacit acquiescence of the mate, Ahab did not hear his foreboding invocation, nor yet the low laugh from the hold, nor yet the presaging vibrations of the winds in the cordage, nor yet the hollow flap of the sails against the masts, as for a moment their hearts sank in. For again Starbuck's downcast eyes lighted up with the stubbornness of life. The subterranean laugh died away. The winds blew on. The sails filled out. The ship heaved and rolled as before. Ah, ye admonitions and warnings, why stay ye not when you come? But rather are ye predictions than warnings, ye shadows. Yet not so much predictions from without, as verifications of the foregoing things within. For with little external to constrain us, the innermost necessities in our being, these still drive us on.
The measure! The measure!
Receiving the brimming pewter and turning to the harpooneers, he ordered them to produce their weapons. Then, ranging them before him near the capstan with the harpoons in their hands, while his 3 mates stood at his side with their lances, and the rest of the ship's company formed a circle round the group, he stood for an instant, searchingly eyeing every man of his crew. But those wild eyes met his, as the bloodshot eyes of the prairie wolves meet the eyes of their leader, ere he rushes on at their head in the trail of the bison. But alas, only to fall into the hidden snare of the Indian.
Drink and pass,
he cried, handing the heavy charged flagon to the nearest seaman.
The crew alone now drink, round with it round, short draughts, long swallows, men. 'Tis hot as Satan's hoof, so, it goes round excellently, it spiralizes in ye, forks out at the serpent's snapping eye. Well done! Almost drained. That way it went, this way it comes. Hand it me, here's a hollow, men. Ye seem the years, so brimming life is gulped and gone. Steward, refill! Attend now, my braves. I have mustered ye all round this capstan, and ye mates, flank me with your lances, and ye harpooneers, stand there with your irons, and ye stout mariners, ring me in that I may in some sort revive a noble custom of my fishermen fathers before me. Oh, men, you will yet see that. Ah, boy, come back. Bad pennies, come not sooner. Hand it to me. Why now this pewter had run brimming again, were it not thou Saint Vitus as in. Away, thou, be gone. Advance, ye mates. Cross your lances full before me, well done. Let me touch the axis.
So saying, with extended arm, he grasped the 3 level, radiating lances at the cross center. While so doing, suddenly unnervously twitched them. Meanwhile, glancing intently from Starbuck to Stubb, from Stubb to Flask, it seemed as though by some nameless interior volition he would fain have shocked into them the same fiery emotion accumulated within the Leyden jar of his own magnetic life. The three mates quailed before his strong, sustained, and mystic aspect. Stubb and Flask looked sideways from him. The honest eye of Starbuck fell downright.
In vain! But maybe 'tis well. For did ye three but once take the full-forced shock, then mine own electric thing that had perhaps expired from out me, perchance too, it would have dropped ye dead. Perchance ye need it not. Down, down, lances, and now, ye mates, I do appoint ye 3 cup-bearers to my 3 pagan kinsmen there, yon 3 most honorable gentlemen and noblemen, my valiant harpooneers. Disdain the task? What? When the great Pope washes the feet of beggars, using his tiara for ewer, oh, my sweet cardinals, your own condescension that shall bend ye to it. I do not order ye, ye will it. Cut your seizings and draw the poles, ye harpooneers.
Silently obeying the order, the 3 harpooneers now stood with the detached iron part of their harpoons, some 3 feet long, held barbs up before him.
Stab me not with that keen steel. Cant them o'er. Know ye not the goblet end? Turn up the socket. So, now, ye cup-bearers. Aha! Advance. The irons. Take them. Hold them while I fill.
Forthwith, slowly going from one officer to the other, he brimmed the harpoon sockets with the fiery waters from the pewter.
Now 3 to 3 ye stand. Commend the murderous chalices. Bestow them, ye who are now made parties to this indissoluble league. Ah! Starbuck! But the deed is done. Yon ratifying sun now waits to sit upon it. Drink, ye harpooneers, drink and swear, ye men that man the deathful whaleboat's bow. Death to Moby-Dick! God hunt us all if we do not hunt Moby-Dick to his death!
The long barbed steel goblets were lifted, and to cries and maledictions against the white whale, the spirits were simultaneously quaffed down with a hiss. Starbuck paled and turned and shivered. Once more, and finally, the replenished pewter went the rounds among the frantic crew, when, waving his free hand to them, they all dispersed, and Ahab returned to retire within his cabin.